Cortisol. Right now, behind your kidneys, two small glands are deciding how stressed you're allowed to feel today. Cortisol is your body's slow-burn alarm system, the hormone that floods your bloodstream the moment your brain decides something is wrong. In small doses, it's brilliant. It drags you out of bed in the morning, sharpens your focus, and dumps sugar into your blood so you've got fuel to handle the threat. The problem is, your body can't tell the difference between a charging lion and an unread email from your boss. So, when stress becomes constant, the cortisol just keeps coming. And to keep you permanently ready, it starts quietly shutting down everything it considers non-essential. Digestion slows. Your immune system dials back. Your reproductive system gets put on hold because your body has decided this is no time to make a baby. Stay in that state for months and you unlock the modern starter pack: belly fat, broken sleep, anxiety, and a gut that is permanently unhappy with you. Cortisol was built to save your life in a 30-second emergency. We've turned it into a personality: adrenaline. If cortisol is the slow burn, adrenaline is the explosion. The instant your brain registers real danger, your adrenal glands fire adrenaline straight into your blood, and your entire body reconfigures itself in under a second. Your heart slams faster, your airways fling open to grab more oxygen, your pupils widen, stored sugar gets emptied into your bloodstream so your muscles have instant fuel, and blood gets pulled away from your stomach and pushed toward your arms and legs, because right now you don't need to digest lunch, you need to run. This is the famous fight or flight response, and it's the reason ordinary people can lift cars off trapped strangers or sprint faster than they ever have in their lives. The catch is that adrenaline can't tell a real threat from a horror film, a bumpy flight, or someone leaping out to scare you. It fires anyway. So, that electric, shaky heart-in-your-throat feeling on a roller coaster is your body genuinely preparing to fight for its life, over a ride you stood in line for. Insulin? Every time you eat, your blood fills with sugar, and sugar floating loose in your bloodstream is actually dangerous. So your pancreas releases insulin, and insulin has exactly one job. It's a key. It travels to your cells, unlocks them, and lets the sugar move out of your blood and into your muscles, your liver, and your fat, where it can be burned or stored. No insulin, no key, and the sugar just piles up in your blood with nowhere to go. That's diabetes. In type 1, the cells that make insulin are destroyed, so the key never gets made. In type 2, your body still makes the key, but your cells slowly stop responding to it, like a lock worn down from overuse that barely turns anymore. For most of human history, type 1 diabetes was a death sentence. Then, in 1922, a 14-year-old boy dying in a Toronto hospital became the first person ever injected with insulin. He recovered within days. One hormone, first extracted from a dog's pancreas, turned a guaranteed death into a manageable condition almost overnight. Ghrelin, that hollow, growling, slightly irritable feeling that hits a few hours after eating, has a name. And it's ghrelin. Released mostly by your empty stomach, ghrelin is your hunger hormone, and its name comes from an ancient root that means to grow. When your stomach's been empty for a while, ghrelin levels climb and travel up to your brain, carrying one message: feed me. But it doesn't just make your stomach rumble. Ghrelin actually prepares your whole body for incoming food, switching on everything that's about to be needed to handle a meal. It's also the reason dieting on willpower alone is so brutal. When you eat less, your stomach pumps out more ghrelin, and the signal screams louder and louder. You're not weak. You're being chemically overruled by a hormone older than human language, and it does not care even slightly about your beach body. Leptin? If ghrelin is the hormone that says eat, leptin is the one that's supposed to say stop. Leptin is released by your fat cells, which makes it a kind of fuel gauge. The more fat you're carrying, the more leptin you make, telling your brain you've got plenty of energy and storage and can put the fork down. In theory, it's a perfect system. In practice, it breaks. In people carrying a lot of extra weight, leptin levels are sky high, but the brain stops listening to the signal completely. It's a condition called leptin resistance. And it's genuinely cruel because your fat cells are screaming, "We have more than enough." And your brain hears nothing but silence, so it assumes you're starving. That's the trap. The hormone meant to be your built-in personal trainer is still showing up to work every single day. Your brain just stopped letting it through the door. GLP-1. This might be the most talked about hormone on the planet right now. and most people have no idea they're even talking about it. GLP-1 is released by your gut after you eat, and it's a metabolic multitasker. It tells your pancreas to release insulin, slows down how fast your stomach empties, and signals your brain that you're satisfied and can stop eating. The catch is that natural GLP-1 vanishes from your blood in about 2 minutes, far too fast to ever work as a medicine. Then came the lizard. In 1990, a scientist studying the venom of the Gila monster, a slow, chunky desert reptile, found a molecule in it that locked onto the exact same receptors as human GLP-1, except this version survived in the bloodstream for hours instead of minutes. That single discovery, pulled from the venom of a lizard, became the foundation for the entire class of diabetes and weight loss drugs the world is now obsessed with. The injections dominating every headline today exist because someone in a lab in the Bronx decided to study reptile venom, testosterone. Testosterone is the hormone most people think they understand, and most people are wrong about what it actually does. Yes, it drives muscle growth, bone strength, body hair, and male sexual development. But one of its strangest jobs is quietly shutting growth down at the right time. During puberty, some testosterone gets converted into a form of estrogen, and that estrogen is what tells the growth plates in your long bones to fuse and stop lengthening, which sets up one of the most disturbing experiments in history. For roughly 200 years in Europe, young boys were castrated before puberty to preserve their high-singing voices. These were the castrati. With no testosterone, that bone-fusing signal never arrived, so their arms and legs simply kept growing. Many reached well over 6 feet, with enormous rib cages and lung capacity that let them hold a single note for a full minute without breathing. The most celebrated singers of their age were, biologically, accidental giants, sculpted by the removal of one hormone. It's a horrifying story. It's also a perfect demonstration of how completely a single chemical messenger shapes the entire human body. Oxytocin. You've probably heard oxytocin called the love hormone, and that's true, but it's only half the story, and the other half is genuinely unsettling. Oxytocin floods your system during hugs, sex, childbirth, and breastfeeding. It bonds a mother to her newborn and partners to each other. It builds trust, empathy, and that warm feeling of belonging. But scientists looking closer found a darker edge. Oxytocin doesn't just make you love, it makes you love your group, the very same surge that deepens your loyalty and cooperation toward the people you think of as us can, at the same moment, sharpen your suspicion and hostility toward anyone you filed under them. Researchers call it tend and defend. It likely helped early human tribes survive by making people fiercely protective of their own and instinctively wary of outsiders. So, the chemical behind the most loving moments of your life is the same one quietly drawing a line between your people and everyone else. Cupid's arrow, it turns out, has 2 tips: melatonin. As the sun goes down and darkness settles in, a small gland buried deep in the center of your brain quietly starts releasing melatonin, and your whole body gets the message that night has arrived. Melatonin is your internal clock signal, the chemical nudge that it's time to wind down, cool down, and prepare for sleep. And here's the part most people get wrong. Melatonin isn't a sedative. It doesn't knock you out like a tranquilizer. It's a timekeeper, a messenger whispering, "It's dark now," to every cell in your body, which is exactly why a bright phone screen at midnight wrecks it so badly. Your brain reads that glow as daylight and slams the brakes on the very hormone trying to put you to sleep. But the strangest part is the gland that makes it. For centuries, that tiny pineal gland was believed to be something far grander. The philosopher René Descartes called it the literal seat of the human soul, the place where all rational thought was born. And for generations, mystics treated it as a spiritual gateway to higher consciousness. Then, in 1958, a dermatologist took a closer look and found the truth. The seat of the soul wasn't producing enlightenment. It was producing a chemical clock that tells you when it's bedtime. Orexin. Right now, a tiny cluster of cells deep in your brain is the only reason you're awake to read this. Orexin is the hormone they produce, and it works like a switch that holds you in the on position. As long as orexin is firing, you stay alert, present, and out of sleep. When it quiets down at night, you finally drift off. Simple, until those cells start to die. When the body destroys its own orexin-producing cells, the result is narcolepsy, which affects roughly 1 in 2,000 people. The switch becomes faulty, and sleep starts leaking into waking life at random. But the strangest symptom of all is cataplexy, where a sudden strong emotion, often laughter, joy, or surprise, makes the body instantly lose all muscle control, while the person stays completely awake and aware. Imagine laughing at a joke so hard that you physically crumple to the floor, fully conscious the entire time, unable to move a muscle. That's the cost of one small group of cells giving out. Every second you've spent reading this, awake and upright and in control of your own body, has been quietly sponsored by a hormone you never once had to think about.